Took me a minute to find my hook. It was buried. Give everybody a minute to pop in. I know it's been forever. I had my blood work appointment this morning, and had to come home and sleep basically the rest of the day because they took so much blood from me. We're checking on my thyroid again. I just wanted to come on here and be like, I don't know how many years it's been since I have been able to do 3 weekends in a row of anything. And at one of the weekends, I did a weaving demonstration. Now, my body is going to take a while to mend after all this excitement the last few weekends. So I basically come home from the pumpkin festival the other day and just slept. Hi, Pocahontas. I came home from the pumpkin festival and just crashed and slept. And but I made it the whole time. And then to Sunday, I just slept. Today, I had to go do a large amount of thyroid blood work. And so I had to get that done. It always makes me just kind of lethargic for the rest of the day. So I basically come home and slept again. But I wanted to pop on and say, I'm alive. I'm starting to do some laundry and look around and go, wow, I've been in a time warp for 3 weeks due to all these markets David's gone to. Maybe it's time to get in the land of the living again. But man, am I tired. Hey, Ashley, Gypsy. We haven't seen Pocahontas in a while. It's good to see you, Pocahontas. The world is just, still doing the crazy things it does. No hope for it to kind of settle down. Not when you look at the brain capacity of the leaders in charge. I did meet several people at the Pumpkin Festival that were having open political talk, and it was very refreshing how sweet and kind they were all being. And of the several that were doing it, there were 3 people that had gone and unregistered from Democrat and re-registered Republican. And they said at the voting commission that they had said, you don't have to do that. You can just vote Republican. They said, no, I want to do that so that if all of us do this, the Democrats will get the idea that we don't appreciate what they're doing. And I was like, good for you, sending that message. And she was like, yeah, she's like, this is not what it's all about. And so we had lots of really good conversation just from people who were frazzled. And we're a very talkative area, so they talked it out just fine. It was nice to see a political discussion that was amicable, brought good points on all sides, had passion on all sides, but at the end of the day was not more important, than the people having the conversation. That was great. You're still taking those classes? I don't know if I was much help the other day when I had that migraine. If y'all missed it last week, I had a very impromptu, aggressive, violent migraine. And probably from just where I'd done so much. But also, they're cleaning up the yard next door where the trailer burned down. They're cleaning it up. So they had done a bunch of machinery work, piling, sorting, got a lot of stuff in the air, and then set to burn. And I had already gone to the farm, come back, and I needed to be here when they burned. They were going to stay as late as they could, but then I was like, I'll keep an eye on it. Don't worry. And I think just the smoke smell, it was just too much for me. And I ended up having a pretty hefty migraine, pretty bad migraine. But I got through it and somehow made it through the last market. So now all I have to do is revamp for Grinchmas. But David giving me the final numbers, he was like, you're basically starting from scratch. I guess that's how well my jewelry and crochet sold. I know that he only brought back two dream catchers of all the ones that I've made and been sending with him. So I've got to bulk up on some dream catchers and some crochet. I asked him what he wanted in his booth for the Grinchmas, and he was like, possums. Possums seem to be the thing, possums. No, the new building's gone. They had to haul it off several weeks ago, and it was a train wreck watching them try to haul it off. they tore the road to bits where it's tarred and chipped. They just tore it to bits because it fell off whatever they had it on to try to haul it, and it just gouged the road. But at least it's gone. Um, there's a new little guy that works in where they've been cleaning up property on the other side of our road because we live on this back side. Then the crossover goes that way, and they've been cleaning up tracks. They sold them like a year and a half ago. They've been cleaning up and burning and clearing tracks for people to build or move something in on, whatever they want to do. Well, he had been over here looking, and he was like, man, that's a pretty place right there, talking about mine and David's place. He said, why is that beside them? Well, just lucky enough, one of the people knew what had happened. They said, yeah, those people, bless their hearts, they could ruin an anvil, and those people have tolerated it for 23 years, and it's been a mess, but they deserve good neighbors. We hope that whoever comes in to clean this place up, is good, so they have good neighbors. And that guy was like, well, he was like, it's going to take somebody like us that does this for a job to clean that up. He's like, no regular person's going to want to touch that. And they were like, yeah, probably. It's probably just going to stay like that because the people that own the land, they're sick, their health is bad, and they're not going to be able to do much. So it's probably just going to stay like that, but at least they won't have the neighbors they had been having. And well, he just walked over here and introduced himself. Sweet man, hard worker. And he wanted to know who owned the property, and I told him who owned the property. A few days later, both of them came over, and I had to go put something in the mailbox that needed to go out to the grandbabies. And I walked up there, and they both said hi to me, and I said hello, and he introduced himself again. I said, yeah, you were at the house the other day. He goes, well, I'm thinking of cleaning this property. He said, getting it to where I can put my camper where the trailer is. He said, live in it this winter, and then I'll have an option to buy and build. He said, but I would like to live here for a little while to see kind of how the area is. And I was like, well, that's smart. And he said, would you be mad if I put a camper where this trailer has been for the winter? And I was like, no. No. And he said, well, y'all have had to deal with a lot, I'm sure. And he said, your place is too pretty to have this beside of it. He said, I would at least like to get that cleaned up. But he said that'd give me a place close to work to be, because he's working on clearing all those properties on the other road. And he said, but I really like this place. And he said, I might buy it and be your new neighbor. And I was like, well, yay, you seem like a nice guy. I'll take it. So he is looking at buying. So they've already started the cleanup. They had a massive burn down. They had a controlled burn of everything that was kind of left. They got some metal sequestered to haul off, and scrap. They've got everything being chunked and rotated in the burn pile still. He's weeding the entire acreage to find anything that they have stacked back there. And he came up one day to get a drink of water out of his cooler, and I was outside with Lou, and he goes, oh my goodness. He goes, you don't know what you're going to walk on back there. And I was like, no, you don't. I said, they've had, a long time to do this. And I said, where the brother owned the land, but the sister lived there, and the kids came and went. And I said, it was hard to get the cops to understand who was in control, to speak to who about what, and I said, it was just a bad situation. He said, I can tell. He said, but you guys don't deserve that. He said, you guys keep the place clean. He said, you seem to be nice. And he said, you don't deserve this. And he said, somebody come over here and cussed me this morning. And I was like, tall, skinny boy, dark eyes. He goes, yeah. I said, oh, yeah, that was the boy that had been living here. I said, he probably thought he was going to be able to come over here and throw a tent out and hide whenever he's wanted. I said, but whenever he wants. But I said, he can't do that. And I said his uncle has told him he can't. And I said, between you and me, I said, the boy's wanted, I said, for about 4 charges, and the cops trying to find him. So if you see him, I said, call dispatch. They're wanting to pick him up really, really, really bad, to the point of they're doing searches for this boy. So that was interesting. It was really interesting. 1, 2, okay. Hang on. I had to count so I knew what to put in the corner. So if all works out, we seem to be gonna have a very hardworking, nice guy live next to us. I'm all for that. I'll take that. Oh, and I've been working on the baby blanket. The baby blanket. So it's a green, purpley, blue blend. It's very pretty as it works up. It's very pretty. So I've been busy, and I'm just so tired. I mean, I'm just exhausted. I am. My gas tank's empty. Yeah, here I am. I'm back. I wanted to. I was up, and I thought I'm gonna at least let them know that I'm alive. I'm drinking lots of coffee today. I went by one of my other bonus child's coffee shops, Mad Dash Coffee, and I was like, Lindsay Lou, I need something with some substance because I've got to give a whole bunch of blood today, and I want something I can then take home and I can revamp and add to it all day long. She's like, gotcha. It was something from her Gilmore Girls menu. She always makes, because I'm never there enough to get to know her drinks, and she changes her stuff a lot, so I always just tell her what I'm needing. But things are slowly quieting down. So now I've got three grumpy froggies, three grumpy butt froggies I've got to make. I've got a twice the size possum I need to make. I got Anna's replacement goat in, her goat that had died. Her goat. It was funny. I got it done. It's in a box to be mailed tomorrow. I found a giraffe, a lady that did worsted weight crochet, and she had the most adorable little giraffe, and it was worsted weight, and I know that took some time, and she had such a good price on it, and I bought that. So I sent the giraffe and the newly made goat. I revamped the goat pattern a little bit. Maybe it will last a little bit longer this time. I would say it's not that Anna's rough on things, but no, Anna's rough on things. But that's okay. She can be rough on things. I'll make as many as she wants to tear into. I don't mind. But I've got those boxed and ready to roll. And I sent the giraffe because every time I send something, I try to send two so they each can get something. So that's what I've been doing. And I'm just trying to. My hair's all wadded, but I'm trying to get back to going and get my sleep schedule kind of back in a better spot and get my schedule revamped because it's been between all the weekend shows, all the prep for the weekend shows for David, all the help I've tried to give David through the week while he's working, and then doctor's appointments for me and Dad, Mom, and nights at the farm. I've just been everywhere, and I'm just tired. Give me a couple days, and I'll be rested up. I'm thinking about just going to go ahead and maybe try to do that book chapter in the morning and get that out of the way and then start slowly moving on. But I was running on fumes there for a while and had to kind of pick where I wanted my energy to go. And to help David the most, I had to put my energy there to help him because I'm not extremely useful just because I don't have a whole lot of energy. So I was like, well, my energy be best served here helping him doing this. So that's where my focus went. And then it went on to getting everybody to the health departments and through all that and all that information down and new ones made and everybody on the same schedule. And then it went to finishing the last market. Then it went back to getting the rest of my blood work done because we went down there and my endocrinologist office had an emergency and they were way far behind due to it. And so they sent the bulk of my blood work up to do at the lab here at my primary's office. So I had to go in and do that this morning. They entered it in last week and told me to come by Monday. So I went and did that this morning. And I am jet lagged. But it'll be okay after I sleep for a couple days. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. The thing about being too tired to be on the internet a lot is that when I see things on the internet that are stupid or that are possibly emotional triggers, I don't even care. I just go to bed. So it's been a quiet few weeks. We were so busy Saturday that I could not even get my camera out to record. I couldn't have gone live because there was no signal. Everybody had to run to the ATM in the area because nobody could do any kind of Squarespace or anything like that. But so I've basically been offline for a while. Been offline for a while, and it's very rarely if I've watched something that's been nice and sweet, or one of the crochet people I watch, or I've left a kind comment and went on, and that's I've had a really just easygoing existence the last few weeks. I've not had to get caught up in anything. It's been really nice. It makes me miss the time before internet. And when you're in crowds of people that are actively talking about, well, they put that big phone tower, but none of us got a phone. You know what that phone tower is for, don't you? Yeah, buddy, that's why we don't have any signal. But, buddy, they got signal. They can do what they want to us. That's why that's there, y'all. And everybody going, yeah, I know. I'm reading up on that now. I'm finding a lot of this stuff out. It's nice to sit in a group of people where you can hear those conversations and everybody's just sharing information. Nobody's judging what anybody's saying. They're just sharing information, and people are compiling lists of things they want to look at later after hearing somebody say it, and people are learning things, and nobody's grumpy, nobody's mad. They just know enough to know, you know, the state of the world. And it was all age groups that were there talking about it. It was young, old. I mean, everything in between. It was all of them talking about it. Some of the younger kids, I say younger kids, I say 14 to 16. The younger, I would call them younger adults because they're soon to be adults. They were reading some pretty heavy books on what's going on. And of course, we would swap book names and stuff that we're reading, and I'd tell them about what I was doing on here. I've had a very slow pace as my health has helped. But and we learned I had a lot of information from each other, and it wasn't like I had to prompt these conversations. People just stopped and were like, oh yeah, well, you can't get a signal because that tower over there isn't really a phone tower. It's actually a tower that sends out these waves. And I'm like, I know. And they're like, oh my god, yeah, everybody here knows. And I'm like, I know, we've most of us lived here our whole life, and it's never helped our cell phone, so we had to kind of dig and understand what it was doing here. If it wasn't helping her cell phone, it's supposed to be a cell tower. And they're like you get a front row seat to to how stupid they think we are. And I'm like, yeah, we've all figured it out here. And just great conversations that was prompted. It was great. Like it was wonderful. So the last market was David's favorite market, and he had a good time. My brother and his and new wife and the baby were there, and that baby smiles non-stop all the time. So I had to make her a tiny, tiny grinner. I made her a little bitty baby possum. I said, since she grins all the time, I made her a grinner. And he picked that up and chuckled and put it in his pocket and packed it over to her. And they posted a picture later of her just hugging it. I've made her 3 or 4 things now. She's old. But she's constantly smiling. That baby does not do anything but smile, and it's precious, absolutely precious. Oh, and they have started an Etsy shop. Right now, he's just doing some T-shirts, but it's going to expand a little bit. He does HVAC work, but this has kind of been his calling, and it is Southern Disciple on Etsy. And I'll try to put a post in the community link. But it's my nephew and his new wife and new baby. And if y'all would like to go and see what they're about, maybe support them. They're doing some t-shirt sales right now, but it will expand soon. It's in the fledgling stages. He felt called to develop a business that is also sharing his passion for faith, family, and hunting. So he's going to be doing stuff like that. His first commercial was really, really, really good. And of course, as the auntie, I have already gone and supported him. But he's going to have a really neat business. It's going to be his like passion business because he does work in HVAC. So that's nice to see them moving forward and doing stuff. So it is Southern Disciple on Etsy, and I'll try to remember to put a link in the comments when I have a minute to sit still. Right now I'm trying to finish this baby blanket that I started just like 2 days ago. I've done it in my spare time so far because it has to be gifted Saturday. I'll get it done, don't worry. So I have a maternity photo shoot for Miracle on Wednesday if it doesn't rain, and then we have baby shower Saturday, and I've got all my bags and stuff to pack because I've got a lot of gifts. I just kept buying gifts, so I've got them all. I'm going to separate them out into little bags so they stand up and look pretty. So I've got a baby shower this coming weekend, and then if I feel like it, there is a wedding shower for David's little cousin, Devin, who is getting married. They came and saw us at the Pumpkin Festival. We hadn't seen him. I hadn't seen him since he was like 12, 13, and now he's 31, and oh my gosh, I felt so old. I felt so old because I'm looking at this kid. He's supposed to be a kid. In my mind, he's a kid. He's still 13, 14. And then he's like, no, I'm 31. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm old. So that was a wake-up call. That was fun. But he's happy. And lo and behold, he's marrying a girl that lives closer to us than to him. They met at, I think they met at some class they took somewhere, and it just kind of blossomed from there. And so it's funny because she knows all about me and my family, because she went to school with my kids. And then we didn't think they would have that in common, because he lives so far away that surely whoever he would marry, we would not know. But no, he picked a girl from our area. They just met in a community college class. And hilarious how small the world is when you really think about it. So I did have a good weekend. I really did kind of run out of pumpkin. But I made it. I can't think of how long it's been since I've been able to do something 3 times repetitiously on a weekend. Yeah, I had to come back and sleep and pamper my feet and my hips and my knees and really not strain myself. My house has got to get caught again. It got out of hand with me needing so much rest during the week because of the weekend taking all my energy. But I'm just really ecstatic to have made it through the 3 markets and had a pretty doggone good time. And, not feel like I'm going to pass out or fall out or faint or need to be at the ER at the end of it. And that was how I was doing before we found out what my thyroid is doing. And now I'm doing a lot more, though I get exhausted and I do have to rest a lot. I don't feel like I'm just going to smack the floor and, vacate, So I'm much more balanced, I guess. And that's been nice to find out. But these are hard weekends on me, on my body. It kind of helps that disorder pronounce, and it gets a little quickie at the end of the weekends. I get to where I've got some muscles trying to freeze or pull, and I've got some issues, and I'm, it just kind of sets my body on edge so that that disorder can kind of present a little bit more. But that's okay. I still made it. So that made me feel a little bit better. That made me feel a little bit better. On yesterday was Jonah's birthday. So if you want to leave Jonah birthday messages in the comments, I'll make sure he comes and sees them. But Jonah turned 22, and I feel so old because he used to come into clogging, and he was just a tiny little fart, and he'd act like the wrestlers on WWE. When he'd run around the cafeteria and get a little, get some mayhem going, and I'd have to go, Johnny, you need to sit down so we can have clogging class, because he was there to watch his brother clog, and it's unreal, Now here we are. He's engaged, fixing to have a baby, and turning 22. Lots of changes the last couple years. And I will tell you what, in my area, we counted like 14 sets of twins that came through. And I would just go, oh my God, another set of twins. And I would say, can I ask you a slightly personal question? They'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, did you get the vaccine? Heck no. No one that was pushing twins around that festival, none of them got the vaccine. Now here's my thought on this. We know that the vaccine was kind of not so great for, women that were trying to get pregnant or were pregnant. We know that there were some things happening now after some reports have come out, some tests have been studied, that it wasn't so great. But in the group of people that did not take it, there seems to have been a bolus of twins, a bolus of multiple births. And I really think this is God's way of showing science and scientists, you might can figure out what's going on, but I created it all and I can handle this. And that made me so happy. Oh yeah, I had massive blood work this morning. Sorry. Yeah, my Band-Aid is from my blood work. I've left it on. Honestly, I've just been too lazy to take it off. I came home and took a nap, and I had to stay in line up there forever, but I came home and took a nap, and I just have gotten to the point where I was too lazy to pull it off, and now I'm just going to soak it in the shower before I rip it off, because it's been there long enough. It's got a good grip. So I'll just soak it in the shower. But y'all, it has been a week. Now, I know that there have been some revelations come out from the Charlie Kirk autopsy. And, now a lot of people are picking up on what I was picking up. Like, you can't hide a 30-06 in your britches. You can't take it apart with one screwdriver. If you take it apart and put it back together, it ain't still going to have a spent shell casing in it unless you put it back in. Nothing was sounding right. It's just like it seemed like they had a very limited gun knowledge about this. I'm like, no. Take apart a 30-06, you're going to be packing several pieces, and it's just much better to leave the giant thing all in one, especially a bolt action. But, they said that, the clip was still in it with a spent gun casing. But if he took it apart and put it back together, that would just seem so strange. Knowing how you have to do that with a bolt action. But I think that there's Officer Tatum has a thing out about the autopsy that the new evidence changes everything. I've not watched it yet, but I'm going to try to watch it tonight when I lay down. So maybe that will, give a different insight. I just think that, they're trying to put their best foot forward, but honestly, all we see is that they got 2 left feet. And people in Chicago are upset because they're going in to areas they say are primarily black. Well, if you watch the census from the last several years and listened to the people that lived in those areas and looked up police reports filed from those areas, you would know that there was Venezuelan gangs move into those areas predominantly and actually kind of root out a lot of the black families that lived there, to the point where the calls to dispatch and 911 there for a long time was about these gangs taking over property that wasn't theirs. So we knew that there was an incel of, Venezuelan gangsters in there, but they don't share that with the bulk of the public, and the bulk of the public is not smart enough to go and want to read stuff like that. So it's frustrating to have to really, put things in the ABC 1, 2, 3 category for people that should be smart enough to, draw some context clues and develop an idea based on that. But well, you see what we're working with in this nation, so it's difficult. But so they're going on these lefty shows saying they're after the black man. They're not. They're after the Venezuelan gangs that have displaced many black families from predominantly black areas that they have now turned into Venezuelan areas. Why did they embed in predominantly black areas? Because they thought they would be safe, because they didn't think that the government would come tromp through predominantly black areas because it would get bad spin in the media. I mean, how loose, Norn, how sneaky do you think they have to be? That's exactly what they were trying for. So we as citizens need to be a little bit smarter and pay a little bit more attention. And all it takes is a few looks between stats on 911 dispatch calls, stats on real estate sales, turnover rates. Most cities have little maps that show you the prevalence of races and cultures in their area and how it shifts. Yeah. So I mean, you can get a map in your head, understand what's going on. You don't have to wait to have some newscaster that's just reading a statement that some rich man wanted read to tell you what you need to think. You can go and do the work and figure it out. So, and guess what? Some of the people have been bought and paid for to say that, they're in black owned lands and running black families out. But then the real people that live there and haven't been paid and are just very happy that the thugs are being taken out, they're saying, don't let these people lie to you. We've been calling for help for years. These Venezuelan gangs, they tried to hide here thinking that they wouldn't get raided or smacked on the hand, because to do so would to look like they were coming after black families. But she said there are no black families in the apartments that they're going after. It's all Venezuelan gang members. And so luckily we've had enough people come to their senses and go online and tell the truth so that, people that are seeking the truth can find it. It's sad that we have to basically act like dog catchers to clean up our streets. It's really sad. It's really sad. Hey, Liba Cats. Yeah, Chicago is in a sad way right now. I am just hoping that after this, they can say, "Hey, look, we got a lot of filth out of the area. How do we restart this so it doesn't happen again? Now since we found all the hidey holes and we know how they play the game, how do we change the rules so that the game can be played better by us? And good people stay in control of the land so that families can have good homes, safe streets, be surrounded by people that aren't dangerous, all these things." So it's a wake-up call, because these Democrats keep saying, "Oh, it's a safe area. It's a safe area." No, it's not. No, it's not. And I'm just, very happy that there have been a few brave souls jump on the internet and say, we needed this. We wanted this to happen. We've been begging for this to happen. And you listen to the Hakeem Jeffries and Ilhan Omar's, speak. They make no sense, because they'll say one thing if it's their party doing it, another thing if it's another party doing it, but never do they have an answer to a question or a remedy to a problem. They simply have a phrase that they want to use to either incite or calm the people. And so they're useless. I mean, they're useless as the G in lasagna. They got nothing going for them. I mean, it's not legal to be here, or did she do something illegal? We know that she married someone. I don't have clarification if it was a family was or is now a gay man that wanted to come to the States. We just don't know. There are gaps in the story. We don't know. Some people say it was her brother. There's no clarification on that I can find. But we do have records that show she married someone promptly so that he could come here on basically that visa. So I think they're looking into that to see if all that was up and up. But then they did that of that one town that had, a lot of the Muslims, the one where they built so many mosques and taken over the grocery stores. And if you're a female out on the street and you're, just an American, they will stop and basically chastise you for disrespecting their religion, even though you're in America. And their religion is not the primary religion of America, and they don't have that authority. In that county or in that area, over 50% of those people were illegal. They had falsified documentation to get here. They were all fraudulently here. Everybody that had an issue there, it was fraud. So how do you fix that? How do you fix that? Because you go and look when these people are being let in, and it's in Democrat run time eras. It's in Democrat run time eras and office eras, and it's in Democrat run cities. And they have learned to so efficiently fly through the paperwork, and they thought they were hiding all this. How do we undo something that's probably been in the making for 50 years or more? It's like, how do we do it? Oh, wait, I see a jail story. I have to wait. I have to read. Oh, yeah, they put soap and socks and whale on people. You should see what they do to people they really don't like. I had to write some dandy investigative reports on some of the county jails where I was the institutional parole officer over. They did some dandy stuff to people that came in with horrendous crimes. They it halfway through the report, I'd be like, well, that was inventive. Or I'd be like, holy crap. And look at my co-officers and go, come here, you got to read this. Ingenuity. It was always entertaining. Never a dull day doing those kinds of reports. Never. But every time they find something that should be a big thing to Americans, like 50% of the people in this town that have relocated are illegal. They're here fraudulently. Okay, well, how do we go about fixing this? But before we can fix it, then they throw out something else, to create a hubbub somewhere else so that we don't ever have that conversation, because they don't want us to fix it and they don't want us to talk about trying to fix it. To me personally, I think if you lied on your paperwork to get into the States, you just You do not pass go and you do not collect $100. You just go right back to the starting line in your country. Try her again. I think that's the only fair thing. And of course, they're the blue-haired young cry people with septum piercings are all going to say, "No, that's not fair." Okay, then you go to any nation and do what they're doing and tell me how they treat you. Go ahead. It's really such an easy conversation to have. We cannot be the epitome of, I don't know, like weirdo island or something. We can't do that. We have got to run our nation effectively. Have good people that want to come here and acclimate, assimilate, because they love the country and what it stands for and what it can do for them and their families. We do not need people that hate our country coming here. We got enough of them people here anyway. But I met Democrats all weekend in those talks that I keep hearing and bump into, and they were like, "Yeah, I went up and changed," and they would tell me at the voter election office, "You don't have to do that," and they all were like, "Yeah, we do. We need the Democrats to know that they're losing us." And I was like, "Yeah, they absolutely need to know they're losing you. Absolutely. Nothing's going to change if they still think they have this huge base that's going to come out and support them. Yeah, give them a little tip off that, hey, buddy, we're not accepting the, half done work from now on. You're going to have to pull your weight and do a better job and be honest." So, what I'm seeing in small towns that talk, the Democrats that were staunch Democrats, they are hanging their heads and saying, "I don't know what has happened, but it is not what it should be, and therefore I'm out because I will not help this." And they're out. And they're going and re-registering as Republicans. And, bless their hearts. Do we think that a party name is much better? No, not really. But they just want to send the idea that there's a shift happening to let them know you've lost people. You're losing us. And it may be a good thing for that party to know. Obviously, bad behavior can be done by any person on any side of any political party. But it does seem that a lot of the heinous behavior that is causing our nation a lot of the shame lately is coming from the left, and it's coming from a party that doesn't even have the sense enough to be ashamed of their behavior when it is truly atrocious. Normally, it's one person that steps out of line and does something truly horrid, and the rest kind of sit back in shock. Not this time, buddy. A couple people did something truly horrid, the rest of them just championed them on like it was a norm. We can't let this stand. We can't let it become a norm. We can't let them think that, this is the new fight club in politics. It should always be debate and communication. It is so stupid to think that the way to having a good society is to terminate anyone that doesn't agree with you. The way to having a good society is to blend us all in some places where we can blend, things that we can understand in a broader spectrum, in kind of an aggregate way, make us feel like we're all part of the same thing. And then to stop poking and picking on special interest things, It's frustrating. And the live action role play that's happening in Portland, it needs to stop. These little kids, and they're kids, they're not young adults, they're kids. These little kids going out in their little homemade body armor and dishwashing gloves and goggles, and bless their little hearts, they think they're doing something big. If they want to be such an idiot and fight something, okay, we'll send them somewhere where they can fight something. And then when they come screaming back about having to actually deal with a foe that's able to put hands on you, they'll say, no, I'll live here and not put my hands on anybody else just to be safe. They'll figure it out real quick. This is not, our police officers and our National Guard and kitty gloves have been used on these people because we keep thinking they'll wake up. Send them somewhere where kitty gloves won't be used. Let them get a taste of it. Let them realize that, boy, it can suck. Let them realize that, even though you think your breast is swollen with pride because you're doing something that's changing the world, teach them how little they're affecting anything. And send them somewhere where if they really wanted to be a hero, they could, but it's going to be a much harder road to hoe. And let them see what true war is like. Gritty in the jungle war. You don't get to run home and sleep in your parents' basement and play 10 hours of a Call of Duty and get ready to go back on your nightly prowl where you chant things that rhyme and carry a jug of milk in case you get pepper sprayed. Oh, no. No, no, no. No, no, no. The options there are come back home alive or not at all. And they don't realize how soft they are. They had one good scare that might straighten them up. One good scare about how bad the world can be and how much they're not prepared for it. It would certainly straighten them up. And they go, oh, Elizabeth, isn't that bad for you to think that? I don't know. Isn't it bad for them to try to disarm, harm, and irritate the holy heck and far out of all these officers just doing a job and all the people that live beside that place? Because they're about to crack. I feel sorry for them. But as they sit there, they find out they're ineffective, then what they're going to do is continue to amp up. Then they're going to, and they're eventually going to do something so stupid that they're going to end up in jail the rest of their life, if not worse. And I don't think we need to let it get there. I think we need to stop it. Hey, you want to go and do this in places where they need bodies to do this? Hey, we'll give you a free plane ride. You can go and LARP, in reality, really, though, and your whole life and see how bad it can be. And when you call crying, begging for a train ride or a plane ride home, you can tell us how good of a citizen you're going to be for living in a place where you're safe. And you ain't going to cause anybody else to fear not being safe. Because they don't know. They think they know about these issues around the world, but they're so blind. They're so blind because their brains are so small, because they do not have any context for what they've learned all this stuff, but there's no context to it, so it's vapid. You have a fictional hope in your head of a character you wish to be, and to live like that as an adult is moronic. Pick a real life. Live a real life. A lot of them just need to get off the tit. They're still titty babies. You still go into your mom and daddy's basement after your live action role play at Portland. That's kind of sad. That's real sad. Never paid taxes, but you're ready to take down the patriarchy? What do you know? What do you know about the patriarchy? They've never taken anything from you. You've never paid taxes yet. Give yourself time to get grumpy in your old age, because at that time it will come with wisdom, and you'll know what to take on and what not to take on. But when you got all this hot-blooded, stupid youth crap flowing through you, sometimes it's better just to sit down and shut up. Is that mean? Yeah, probably. I don't care. I don't care. And then you see creators on YouTube that tell people, just come on in and sit down. We're going to have a nice, quiet video because we want you to feel safe. We know you're dealing with so much because the world we're all. Your subs need you to give them a pacifier and a pep talk. They're adults. They need a pacifier and pep talk. They're adults. Boggles my mind. I just been crocheting and jabbering. Well, we got Margaret and Henry and a little bit of everybody in here. Did you learn it from your grandmother? My granny and my mom used to do a lot of it, and I learned how to do granny squares early in life. But it was a skill that it was not a skill that I was applied to. It's like I would know how to do it, but I wasn't really invested in learning anymore until Haley had twins, and all this baby craze stuff was crochet, and I was like, well, guess I'm gonna learn how to crochet. So I took my granny square knowledge and built on it, and haven't stopped yet. Hey Mary, how you doing? I've been so busy too. I have the last several weeks, and every weekend David had a market, and I don't get out a lot, but I really wanted to go to these markets to get out because it's really my last chance to really get out of the house and do something before winter starts to set in and I'm kind of frozen in the house all winter. So I made it to all three markets, but I had to really just focus my energy on where it needed to be, and it was me, 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 and then Saturdays it was, me and Dave, and but I got through them. I enjoyed them. Met some wonderful people. I had some instances where I had to sneak to the Jeep and sit down and get a little bit of a nap in, and but I made it through all of them. And I've slept for like 2 days. I had to get up and do blood work this morning, and I'm a little jet lagged from my blood work, but I think after another night or two of sleep, I should be back to normal. We're going to try to kick back on with the book and keep going. Got a lot of people having a lot of communication with the book. Got a lady that's wanting 3 of my grumpy butt frogs. I've got the yarn in finally to start that. I'm trying to finish this baby blanket for Saturday's baby shower. And then there's a wedding shower the next weekend. Although David may end up going to it alone. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. But I kind of tested my body, and we made it through, but I also had to kind of shut down a lot. Like I shut down the online stuff. I just kind of had to walk away from it and say, okay, I'm going to focus on me and my health and getting through these 3 markets. Because it was a goal. I wanted to be able to get through all 3 markets. And I did it, and I'm very proud, but I'm very tired. My house looks like I've not been here. I did 4 laundry today just to get caught up. That's big laundry for my house. And I've got a lot of just catch-up cleaning to do where I was just so busy, or David would say, well, this, and this sold. I need to replace it with that, and that. And I would just try to help as much as I could. So I've still got stuff that I have to do for him before he goes to. Oh, I missed my loop. I still have stuff I've got to do before he goes to Grinchmas. But I've got a few weeks where I can breathe a little bit before I have to go crazy crafting. So that makes me feel like I can breathe a little bit. So now I'm just focused on this blanket, and I'm going to do maternity pictures for Miracle on Wednesday if it doesn't rain, and just try to have an easier week and try to get back into things, get another chapter of the book out. I found out that with the medication I'm on, the little bit of weight I've gained is due to it. She told me not to be upset because most people gain 2 to 3 times what I'm gaining. She said you don't have that much longer to be on this medicine before we have to make a decision. She said you'll probably lose it almost immediately after we, if we have to take out your thyroid. She's like, you'll probably lose it immediately. She's like, don't freak out. So, I'm still 100 pounds lighter, but it's not nice to see the scale go the other way. But I'm not going to let it ruin my day, because I'm still much healthier than I was, and I'm still doing everything right. So we should self-correct after this medication is over. So yeah, I've just had a busy 3 weeks between specialist appointments for everybody, and markets and market prep and helping Dave, and him being, working full time and doing all this. It's just busy, y'all. Busy, busy, busy. But I'm glad to see things kind of slowing down. This is the first time we've had 3 in a row like this, the way they were timed out. And it was very strange. And I honestly hope they don't do it like that again. But it was a nice little trial for me. I wanted to see if I could do it. I did it. I'm just tired. Oh, I'm so tired. Yeah, Olivia Cats, my health kind of took priority, and I just kind of focused on me and kept my health front and center so I could get through and do what I wanted to do with these markets. So, but I feel good that I was able to do it, and I'm just tired. That's normal. David's tired too. I can't stay tired without yawning. But like, my health is not any more the worse for it. I just need some sleep for a couple days and I'll be fine. And I think I'm mostly jet lagged right now from all the blood they took for me for my blood test this morning, because we're following my T3 marker, which is moving. Hallelujah. So that's a good sign. Yeah, I've been super busy. Traveler families. I watch a lot of stuff on traveler families because they are so unique. Um, and it's so hard on them to acclimate into any kind of new age world, because then they kind of lose the markers that truly make them travelers. And what makes a traveler family beautiful is the closeness and the camaraderie and the tight knit love that they have. And they know their all their families, all their generations, because they are normally multi-generational families that go around together. So these kids, you don't have to drive 30 minutes to go to grandma's and great grandma's and great, they're right there. You don't see a picture and get told that was your great. Well, you knew her until you were 8 before she passed away. There's a lot of positives in a traveler. There's a lot of negatives too. Some of the customs they carry are a bit confusing, socially confusing, but there's a lot of stuff that they do right that we could learn from. And I think a lot of the areas that used to really, I think after some of those shows, they do tend to look at them a little bit differently, but I don't know if society will ever allow, I'm just going to say it, I don't know if society will ever allow a predominantly white man's culture to be fully accepted anywhere in the globe ever again. And there, I said it. There, I said it. Spit it on out there. Might as well. And that's sad. That's sad, because everybody's culture should be important to them, so they should know that everybody else's culture is important to them. But we've been dragged around and programmed to think we have to reign supreme, and belittle each other, and it messes up our society. Margaret. The reason I'm able to do this while I'm talking is because I'm just doing a very easy granny stitch. Like my hands can do it, I think, in my sleep, which it probably will have to by the end of the week to get this thing done. I'll get it done. If I get tired of it, I'll stop and work on a frog for a few minutes and then go back to it. Luna, sadly, after two and a half, almost 3 months of no seizure, she's starting to end her heat cycle, and she had a seizure last night. No, not before last. Saturday night. Saturday night, she had a seizure. It wasn't a big one, but it was full blown seizure. But she came out of it pretty good. She's a little addled for about 5-10 minutes, but um, we got her through it. Kept her up, woke her up, made sure she was acting right, spent some time with her. Then we put her back to bed, and she made it through the rest of the night without another. So it was still just one standalone. I don't know if that's going to affect the vet still wanting to do the spay. Otherwise, she's very healthy now. She's fatter than mud, doing quite well. But she's just going to be a dog with this problem that has a seizure about every 2 to 3 months. And if somebody else wants to give her a try, they're going to have to understand that and know that, if they start to present any more than that, then look into her health. But if it's one every couple, 3 months, that's just her baseline. So I left a voice recording with the lady vet, and she's had some medical issues, so it takes her a little bit longer to get back to me right now, but it wasn't a rush. I just wanted her to know what happened. And when we go in for the next round of vaccines, we're going to talk to her about does that make you not want to do the surgery with her under anesthetic? Because we don't want her having any more babies, but we also don't want her possibly having a grand mal seizure while under anesthesia and something bad occurring, or even her gut flipping because of one. So that's all things that we're worried about. Where are you going? She's got on her little period overalls, and she's worn them so long now. I took them off of her earlier because she's about over this heat cycle, and she looked at me like, put my clothes back on. And I thought, oh, I've ruined the dog. She thinks she has to wear clothes now. We don't really want to rehome her, but since she's getting much more healthy, she wants to be much more active, and that's stuff that I can't do with her, that's too much for me. So if we could find a younger family that had some kids that wanted to play with her and, could just watch her health, understand her belly issues, watch her health, and just know that she's going to have a shake and bake moment every couple, 3 months, we would totally be like, yeah, you just can try her out and work with them and, stay in contact, because she does get kind of bored here with us because, I try to do stuff with her, but I can't play like a younger person would with her. And she's at the point where she needs that exercise a lot more than what she's getting. And I've got her on a pretty good diet. She's getting a healthier weight now. She was getting a little too fat, but she just needs to be playing. And so we're open. If somebody is brave enough to try her, we're open to letting them try her, because we know that she would do much better in a little bit more highly, I don't know, active family, because she's healthy. She's got so much energy, and she loves kids. Oh my gosh, she loves kids. That little boy calls her woo woo, and he loves her, and she just runs to him, and they just got a bond. The original people that tried to keep her from getting put down took her to foster. So she's wonderful with children. Ideally like to keep her, but he's open. He knows that with me sometimes need to be at the farm, sometimes need to be gone to specialist appointments with mom and dad, and having bad days. She's healthy enough now, it may be that she might thrive better with another family. So she gets to dictate. If she finds another family that she loves, we'll look into it. If we run across somebody, if not, she'll just stay with us. But it'll be her decision, I guess. But if like we run across people and she bonds with them, and they've got kids, and she just latches onto them, we'll be like, okay, yeah, we can try this for her. What did you get? Okay. She's learned how to push the lazy Susan part of my cabinets open. It's where my Tupperware stays. I don't know why she thinks Tupperware is so amazing, but she wants to open that lazy Susan and look at my Tupperware. And when she gets bored, she does stuff like that, and it's like she needs something else to be doing. I've ordered her some interactive toys that kind of work her mind a little bit more to wear her out a little bit. And we made a run for her when I'm out in the backyard. She can be on a run so that I don't have to worry about her running away, because she can fit right through the flipping gate. But she can run and go from the back porch all the way to David's fur shed and full tilt run so she can get some energy out. And I'm looking at getting her one of those little machines where she can just fetch the ball and put it back in the top and it spits it out again. Looking at getting her one of those because she learns fairly quickly. And she did play the little duck treat thing like a slot machine. So it's only a special time toy now because she does play it like a slot machine and throw out all of the treats. So we kind of figured that would happen. We was hoping she would only, see it in passing and maybe take a treat or two, but she just sat there like a little old woman on a bar stool and played it like a poker machine. So she's got toys to keep her intrigued and interested. But she's just 4 and can, totally have a very long life with a family if they want to take a chance on her. We just have to make sure they can handle what her health will throw at them, because we seem like we have gotten over the stomach lining infection, and that lowered the seizures dramatically. And now we have just got to deal with the remnants of the epilepsy, which is just, how did I do that? One, two, with the, how did I do that? Oh. But they're just going to have to be willing to kind of research the seizures and understand what they can do to help her through one, and what doesn't need to happen, and to just learn not to freak out. We don't even freak out during them anymore. We have our roles we take, we get her through it, we acclimate her afterwards, and then we just go again. Just wait for the next one. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 months. Here's what I've got so far. This is going to be so pretty. It's got like blues and greens and a little bit of lavender in it. They want a lavender border, so I'm going to put a lavender border on it. Y'all, I'm so tired. A skateboard. You need a skateboard, Lou? They want you to have skateboard, Lou. Do you think you can skateboard? Are you giving me the stink eye? They think you can skateboard. You want to come here and show them your overalls that you've outgrown? This is your smallest pair. You've outgrown out of them. Oh, come here she comes. Pull your bloomers up. Don't kiss me, Lord. Say hi, everybody. I'm just as mean as ever. I'm just as mean as ever. I'm just as mean as ever. Say Petey Poo. Say Petey Poo, Petey Poo. You like Petey Poo, don't you? Petey Poo. Oh, Petey Poo. Oh, Petey Poo. Oh, Petey Poo. Say Petey Poo. Say, oh, Petey Poo. She likes Petey Poo. It's her favorite game. Here, you're losing your overalls. There we go. She's doing great. Fat and sassy. She just, when the hormones and her heat cycle stuff, it just kind of threw her into a little seizure, but it was just one. So now she's about done, so that seems to be over with. See, I've been over there sleeping and snoring after my dinner. So I'm fat and sassy, man. Fat and sassy, man. You fat and sassy? Are you fat and sassy? Want to say Petey Pie? Petey Pie! She's like a little kid. Petey Pie for a little kid. She just loves it. Ready? Ready? Petey Pie! Petey Pie! Petey Pie! Oh my goodness. Petey Pie! Aggravates her so much, but she loves it too. She's a nut. She's Sweetie Pie. Well, she gets on my nerves sometimes. She does something, she'll just look me straight in the eye and be like, yeah, I did that. Whew. And then we have to have a class about behavior. But she's a pretty good dog. She learns quick. She's one that you can't stop being school because she continually has to learn, or she'll try to sneak one by you. So you constantly have to be teaching her and stay in teacher mode. Or she'll be like, I thought that class was done and I could go back. No, you're still in class mode. So, but as long as you keep her in class mode, she stays in her lesson stick and she behaves. So I'm a good dog. So I let really horrible farts. Don't you? So look at this face. She lets really horrible. She's like, don't shout them, man. Really horrible farts. Really horrible farts. But she is very sweet. There was no reason for her to even been thought about put down. She can live a super happy life with one seizure every 2 to 3 months. And as long as her health is maintained, they should not become any worse. Oh, she is probably around 15 pounds now. I'm sure the vet, I've been trying to shave a little bit off of her. We probably got 1.5 pounds off of her because she was getting so fat. I was afraid the vet was going to squall at me. So I was like, we're just going to put you on a diet now, dog. You're healthy. She's super healthy and so fat and sassy. And she finally looks like a dog instead of a little curled up bag of bones running at you in the yard. She's terribly clever, but that's her problem is she's terribly clever. So sometimes she tries to outthink you. It doesn't ever end well. So you just kind of have to constantly in the back of your mind go, oh yeah, Luna's going to probably think about this and just preempt it. But once you kind of learn how she functions, you can catch her. You know exactly what she's going to do. And she's not really that much of a problem. But she stays in school mode here, so she doesn't really try a whole lot. Now, if you were just to turn her loose and never put her in school mode and let her know that this is my house and we have classes about this, God knows what she'd do. Any dog will do it. But if you keep her in line like she's in the pack and tell her this is my house and this is how you live here and this is what you need to learn, she follows the rules pretty good. She just wants to open the Lazy Susan and watch the Tupperware spin around in a circle. It must be fun. I don't know. I don't think it's fun because then I have to rewatch it if she gets into it. But she's doing great. She's fixing to have her last dinner and then go to bed. Yeah. Are you CBs? Are you CBs? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She's a love bug though. She is truly a love bug. She's tired. She's like, Mom, I'm tired. I want to eat my last dinner and go bed. She's like, I'm tired. You tired? Are you tired? You so tired. Oh, her so tired. Oh, her so tired. She's like, this is not my chair I lay down on. She's Sweetie Pie. She's a Sweetie Pie. It feels like we've always had her. It really does. It feels like we knew exactly what to do for her when we got her because it feels like we've always had her. Here, put your arm up here and lay down. There you go. Oh, you don't like that? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Drama queen. You're losing your overalls. Hang on. You gonna bite me? Bite me. Show them how you 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 bite me. Bite me, bite me. Such a stinker. Okay, you hungries? You hungries? You hungries? Slide down. Go to your plate and I'll feed you. Thank you. Walking around with those little overalls on, it just cracks me up. She's so funny. Well, I'm going to feed her and then I'm going to crash the night. I just wanted to check in while I crocheted for a few minutes, let you know I lived through the 3 weekends. I got through it. I'm extremely jet lagged, but I'm okay. And tomorrow I'm going to try to start sprinkling in some stuff in my normal daily life to get back and get to my YouTube game again, you know. So just be patient. Information is coming. The first thing will probably be the next chapter on the book to get y'all going. And we'll just take it from there. We'll see what I can get into. I'm going to have to go light for a few days because I've got to get my house cleaned up where I was doing everything else but housework for 3 weeks. I have to get my house cleaned up. But we're getting back at it. And we'll get back to our regularly scheduled broadcasting hours and see a lot more of each other in the next few weeks to come. So it'll get back to normal. And then maybe we can do some holiday crafts. That sound good? It's good to see y'all. Thanks for jumping in. I've had a lot of them email me, check on me, message me, and I've tried to hang on where I can. And I appreciate you all checking on me, but I got through it. Looking forward to doing some crafting for the holidays and for Grinchmas, and just a little bit of rest in between and pick up the house, and then we can get right back to the normal stuff, our normal routine. So I missed yous, I love yous, and I'm back. So you'll be seeing a lot more of me. So y'all have a good night. And try to make it a great week this week. And I'll probably see you tomorrow. Luna says, go fill my bowl with food. Bye, guys. Are you hungries? Are you hungries? Are you? She's demanding. Okay. Can you go get your bowl?